Breaking news in the National Football League as Atlanta Falcons wide receiver Calvin Ridley has been suspended indefinitely due to a violation of the NFL's policies, illegally betting on games last season. We also recap the action in college basketball. Including Coach K's final home game with Duke at Cameron Indoor Stadium against their arch nemesis, the North Carolina Tar Heels. In February, Duke destroyed UNC in a blowout, but on Saturday night, the Tar Heels got sweet revenge on the Blue Devils, winning 94-81. We also recap the action in the NBA, including an epic Saturday night game in Los Angeles between the Lakers and the Warriors. LeBron James put the Lakers on his back, scoring 56 points, a season high, the third most points scored in his entire career. The Lakers have the 4-game losing streak, beating Golden State 124-116. In 1 week, finally, the NFL's off-season kicks into high gear as free agents can be signed and trades can occur. It is that time once again, sports fans. It's showtime. From the gridiron to the court, talking all that is sport. Members of the Busted Up Nation bring to you our Nation Sports Show. Here are your hosts, Ezra Vickery, Joey Thornton, Kevin Rorie, Randy Giron, and Stephen Wyand.
All right, here we go. All right, everybody's ready. All right, let's do this shit. All right, guys, we got a killer show to get to. What's going on? I am Ezra Vickery. This is our Nation Sports Show. We are live right now. You wanted the best? Well, they're not here, so you got us instead.
Yeah, that's right.
It's going to be a great show. This show is going to be off the chain more than CM Punk was after the dog collar match, but we'll talk about that's going to be on the Nation's Corner. We'll get into that another time. But seriously, we thank you guys for joining us here on the show today. We got a lot to talk about, some big NFL news today, some trades, some re-signings, franchise tags, and of course, what was mentioned about a player being suspended indefinitely for conduct outside of the NFL. And we're going to talk about that all in just a few moments. But first, we got to get to how you guys can interact with us. Of course, you can interact with us on YouTube, which is where we are live right now. And of course, or youtube.com, search our Nation Sports Show. We're almost there, guys. We're still at 91 subscribers. We need you guys to get us to 100. That way we can get our custom URL, which makes it easy for you guys to find us and for us to share content with you. Number 2 is you can follow us on, of course, all of our social medias. Twitter.com/ON_sports show. Facebook.com/Our Nation Sports Show, and Instagram.com/Our Nation Sports Show, excuse me. And then, of course, you can go to also, don't forget to follow the Nation's Quarter at all their socials. You can follow them at the Nation's Quarter. Follow Too Sweet Cosplay at Too Sweet Cosplay across all socials. And please interact with us. Like, subscribe, share all the good stuff, because we love to hear from you guys and hear some of your takes in the world of sports. But as I always say, enough of my yakking. It's time to introduce our folks here tonight. We got 4 guys in here. Of course, Joey, our buddy Joey Thornton can't be here tonight. He's a little under the weather. He did pop in before in our pre-show meeting to see what's up and all that. So we know, Joey, you're watching right now. Get back here. We'll see you next week on the show. And hope you enjoy it. All right, let's introduce the guys here. We got with us our good buddy here, Mr. Randy Giron. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, what's going on? Just a little sad today. Now I got to worry about the Raiders playing some Wilson character for 2 games this year. Oh, stay out of the West. All you free agents, stay out of the West. Unless you're going to the Raiders, stay out of the West. That's all I got to say. It's good to be here. It's always good to be here. Thanks for having me, and should be a good show.
Yeah, I know that's the way I feel about the NFC North as well, man. But our next buddy here is, of course, our San Francisco 49ers guy, our football expert here on this show, the one and only KR Kevin Rorie. What's going on, buddy?
What's up, everybody? And Randy, I'm in exactly the opposite boat as you, because while you're sad and all down and gloomy, I'm rejoicing because he can get the fuck out of the NFC West.
Boy.
And he made his point loud and clear.
Yeah. Tell us how you really feel. I mean, come on, jeez.
That point was true. That point was truly loud and clear there. All right, let's get going to our final man here, the patriarch of this fucking show. Absolutely, my heavy metal brother from another mother, who pulls more women than Ric Flair does in a single night. Woo! I love telling lies on the show. The one and only Stephen Wyand. Stephen, what's up, my man?
I don't know about that bullshit, but what's up anyways? What is going on, everybody out there in the sports land? Get ready to talk about some NFL news that just came down the pipe today, and some NBA action, some college basketball action. UFC had their pay-per-view this past Saturday, and should be a lot of fun. Let's go.
Absolutely. Let's get right into it. Let's not waste any time, and let's talk about basically what you talked about. Actually, let's go into a different direction for one moment. We usually don't talk about. We usually keep our stuff on the 4 major sports. Sometimes we get into college basketball. Sometimes we get into, the Olympics or whatever. This one involves the world of skateboarding, and it involves the skateboarding legend. Tony Hawk broke his leg in a skating accident today.
Oh no!
Yeah. It says he may never get back to 100% again.
Oh my god!
This dude's coming out of his Instagram, saying he's going to do what it takes to get back on the board again, but it's not going to be easy. He said he broke his femur severely, so this may be the end of Tony Hawk as a skateboarder. So.
Wow.
Man, that is terrible. What a legend in skateboarding, man. I mean, just oof. That is
the goat on a skateboard.
That is awful.
Absolutely, man. Tony Hawk, one of the greatest of all time to ever do it.
He can come back at 75% and still be better than any of the skateboarders out there right now. He's an absolute legend. Transcends skateboarding without a doubt. And I hate to hear that. It's just unbelievable that it took all the way till now for him to get hurt. I'm wishing he didn't, but he had quite the run.
Absolutely, one of the greatest of all time. But let's get into the NFL news, man, and let's start off with that big news story that you talked about in the intro, Steven. And that is that that the Atlanta Falcons receiver Calvin Ridley has been suspended for basically a whole season for betting on games while he was during the season. These games that he betted on were during his when he was on a non-football injury list to address mental health issues. So it said according to one report, it said he bet, I think it was $11 million.
Wow.
On games. Some big number like that. He bet a shit ton of money on games. And from what I heard, I don't think he came out the winner on any of those. But still, that's
a lot of money.
Still, this man hits, he violated the NFL's conduct code, and now he's out for a year pending any other possible punishment for what he does. This is betting on sports is while players are active has become it's not become an issue per se, but we've seen it happen in the past. We've seen it with Pete Rose in major leagues back in the day. We've seen it with all sorts of players, multiple sorts of sports, betting on games and, doing these things. And we understandably so, while it was during his time, let's say not on the field, it was still while he's an active contracted player, which when you read that contract in the NFL, it specifically states you can't do that. And he violated the terms of his agreement, therefore he's serving the punishment and the time for it. The question I have for you guys is, what do you think of what do you think of what Calvin Ridley did? Do you think that the punishment fit the crime, or do you think that maybe it's a little bit too extreme to suspend him for a whole year for betting on games? Kevin, I'll go ahead and start with you, man.
It fits the crime to a certain extent. I feel like the league, you could tell the league is more selfish on acts like that because you're messing with the league's money at that point. So they're going to suspend him a year, while guys like Adrian Peterson, felony assault on his girlfriend, Ray Rice beating their child, or Adrian Peterson, a felony assault on his child, suspended 2 games. Ray Rice, felony assault on his girlfriend, suspended 4 games. But Calvin Ridley betting on games a whole season. I feel like they need more consistency. But what Calvin Ridley, what he did was wrong. Just plain and simple. Being a knucklehead.
I'll just say this: Calvin Ridley, good football player, bad gambler.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it. He's not very good. He's a football player and couldn't even bet on football. I mean, what the hell?
Yeah. I mean, do I think it's
I feel bad for the guy, man. Golly, but jeez, oh man.
No, I can't give Calvin Ridley grief up being a bad bettor. I mean, come on, I had a free play for the AEW Revolution main event poll for DraftKings, and I still lost.
Yeah,
so there you go.
I mean,
how it goes, yeah.
do I think they made the right move to us? Do I think they made the right move? Yes, to a certain degree. Is it punishable? Absolutely, because what Ridley did was absolutely wrong. But like Kevin said, you have to be consistent, because if you're going to suspend Jonathan Vilma, for a whole entire season for Bountygate in 2012, then you need to punish these players when they break the law. And they break the rules and all that stuff. I mean, because Ray Rice assaulted his girlfriend, felony, did not get suspended the entire year, and he should have been. Adrian Peterson, felony assaults on his girlfriend, did not get fully suspended. These 2 players should have been fully held accountable for their actions. And Ridley, rightly so, is being held held accountable for his actions. And again, he's a good football player, but he's a terrible gambler. If you're going to be gambling on football games, gamble wisely, and don't be throwing money just for the sake of throwing money, because you're losing a shit ton of it. I mean, just if you're going to bet on these games, bet wisely, but it's still wrong. It is still illegal.
And like you said, Stephen, it sounds like to me what the league is saying by doing that is, Ray Rice, you beat up your girlfriend. We're going to pop you a little hand until you know. Oh, Calvin Ridley, you're fucking with our money. Get the fuck, beat the hell out of him. That's what it sounds like to me.
Oh, another one we forgot about. What about Greg Hardy?
Oh, yep. Yeah.
He's still playing. Imagine that.
That's right.
Because you're right. Because when the NFL sees that, you're screwing with our money. Oh, we're going to do something about that shit. I mean,
the NBA was like that with that referee that year too.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And what he did was even worse, because
he was calling the game. And he was
calling the game. I mean,
he had an effect and everything, right? Yeah.
And that right there, I mean, this right here, it's the same thing basically. But you have to be consistent, and when you're doing this stuff, because if you're going to suspend Ridley for all these games, which is correct, you have to do it to all the other players that are in violation of the rules.
Sure, definitely.
I mean, now what Goodell came out there and said, he's absolutely correct. Now, look, we always say that Goodell is, he's full of himself at times, but in this situation, he is absolutely correct on what he said. I mean, because Ridley is playing with the NFL and their money. And that could make the NFL look bad if they let that go. Because think about it. If they let Ridley go and didn't, suspend him, that would be over the NFL's head. And then reports just came out that Ridley has been betting on games since last year. Because think about it. If Ridley didn't get caught, who knows how many games he would have betted on coming up in the upcoming 22 season.
Yeah,
Because it sounds
he
like
wouldn't
to
even
me he's got a gambling problem.
points off the game.
What's the over under on that?
Yeah, exactly. But it sounds like to me he's got a gambling problem.
Yeah.
for that
It
one,
definitely does.
I
It
deserve that one.
definitely does
I deserve
sound
it.
like he's got a gambling problem, but I wish the NFL, like I was telling Randy earlier at work, I wish the NFL would investigate, because if the Falcons have some kind of clue as to he was doing that, they need to be punished, because you're fucking with the NFL's money. If the Falcons knew anything about it, I say they lose 3 or 4 draft picks over the next couple of years. Do something.
yeah. I agree with that 1,000%. If they knew exactly what the hell was going on, then they should feel the repercussions just as much as Ridley did. It would be unfair punishment to give Ridley to sit out for whatever and not fine the organization an obscene amount of money for it too, and to do a thorough investigation. It would maybe cost him a draft pick. Who knows? It's gonna be. To me, that's the only way. If you're really gonna, does the punishment fit the crime? Like you said, to some extent, yes. But if you really want to justify it, you can't just punish him. You got to look at that whole franchise as a whole piece when you're looking at something as serious as betting during games. And when you're fucking with the NFL's money, like you guys said, that is a huge no-no. That is a huge thing you don't do. You don't fuck with Roger Goodell's money. You don't fuck with the organization's money. Those are the last 2 things you want to do in your career. And so
I know.
With Calvin, he needs to, just because there's examples like Greg Hardy getting away with it still playing, that doesn't mean that you ain't going to feel the same wrath as they did when they committed those crimes. So to me, I think I agree with you 1,000%, Kevin, that the NFL needs to investigate. I'm not saying try to witch hunt the Falcons organization, but do a thorough investigation, look into it, and see if they knew what he was doing. And if they did, then the Falcons need to be handled with some punishments accordingly.
Because that's an excellent point. Because back in 2007, when the Patriots were caught with a Spygate against the Jets, they were held accountable. They were fined, I believe, $500,000. And that the Falcons knew that their wide receiver was betting on games illegally. Atlanta's going to get fined, in my opinion, at least $1 million. Because
I think they get fined all the way up to a first-round draft pick this year, to be honest. And if I remember correctly, I think they did the same with Bountygate. Like Sean Payton was suspended.
They did.
Like all of them, they cracked down. So if I know the NFL, like I know the NFL, I know they should or probably will dig a little into it. They dug into it a little bit last year with John Gruden. Remember, like they do their own investigation, and I feel like they will. I feel like they'll do the right thing and try to dig into it a little bit, just to kind of search for things.
I think Atlanta's head coach's history, for several games. I think the GM is going to be fined. I think the defensive coordinator, the offensive coordinator. I think there's going to be some suspensions going around here for the Atlanta Falcons. This is not a good move. For Ridley, because he's not only putting himself in danger, but he's putting the entire NFL and its owners and teams under possible fire. And Goodell, like him or not, he made the correct move. They did what they had to do to protect themselves and the entire organizations of the NFL.
Yeah. I agree with that 1,000%. Let's go ahead and let's move forward to let's go forward to probably the biggest topic of the day. And by saying probably, I'm pretty much stressing it is. And that is that it was announced today first by Ian Rappaport, but shot down by 2 different people, one being Pat McAfee and the other being the man himself, is that Aaron Rodgers is staying with Green Bay. Ian Rappaport first reported that the deal was a 4-year deal, $200 million with $153 million of it guaranteed. However, both Pat and Aaron himself have both said that yes, he is returning next season. However, the length of the contract and how much he will be making was not officially disclosed. So, with that being said, his distant future with Green Bay is of course still completely unknown. But at this point, with incredible guys like Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter reporting that he's making that much money, it wouldn't shock me that he is, because Green Bay is desperate to keep him. Green Bay knows that if they lose Aaron Rodgers, they lose the cog piece to their dynasty. They lose the cog piece to that team who, without that quarterback, they're going to be in some serious shit. And, to me, would they pay that kind of amount of money? Yeah, they would. But like you said, in our pre-show meeting, Kevin, they have a $200 million salary cap that they got to meet in their own way. I believe it was $208.2 million was the number that was put out yesterday. And to me, they got to meet that. And you got to think Aaron Rodgers' contract already takes up a huge portion of that. You got 20 plus other players that still need to be signed and taken care of. How do you do that when you sign a player for that long? Aaron's got to learn that A, he's in the twilight of his career, and B, that if he's going to stick around, his contract has got to be lower. It's got to be restructured.
Yeah, I mean,
but hold on one second, Steven, and I'll let the rest of y'all go. When it comes down to it, we don't know the length of the contract, but what is reported. But it was reported by two of the most reputable sources in the NFL. Ian Rappaport, who, of course, the rap sheet, and Adam Schefter, freaking the godfather of football news, for Pete's sakes. And, so, I mean, yeah, it came from Aaron Rodgers. He said, I don't know the length of this. But, these guys know how to dig deep and get into that type of stuff. So, I mean, it doesn't matter to me. Aaron's, for me, especially being a Bears fan, unfortunately back. It means the Bears stomped again for another whole season. Yay me. But I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this continuing thing with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, it says that he's back. He's coming back next season. What are your thoughts on that and the whole situation involving the details of his contract?
Oh,
anybody can go first. Anybody can take it. I know, Steven, you wanted to jump on that. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, the simple fact that we know Rodgers is coming back next season. If he wants to have any significant players around him on the offensive end and the defensive end, he has to take somewhat of a pay cut, because Devontae Adams being on the free agent market, and having all these guys on their team that are hitting the free agency market, it's a huge thing for Rodgers, because Green Bay knows as an organization they need Aaron Rodgers to be the quarterback of their franchise, because he is the hope that they can succeed. And when Rodgers is on his game, they are good. But that's the key, if he's on his game. And when he's there, he brings a presence. And if I'm Rodgers, I am taking a
presence like Led Zeppelin.
Bravo, sir. Yeah, I think that Rodgers needs to take a pay cut, at least maybe like $122 million or something like that, because he needs to do that, because the cap is insane, but they have to meet. Like you just said, $208 million. That's a lot of money on the cap. And you can't have your star player eating up basically 90% of that cap space. I mean, no. If you want to be successful next year, you have to have shocker, other players around you to make the form of that team. One player does not defy how good the team is going to do next year.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Steven, before we move it over to the next person, got to give a couple shouts to some people in the chat. And that is, of course, our good buddy, Tony Justice.
Ooh,
yeah, Tony Justice. What's going on, brother? Of course, Joe, of course, in the chat. Of course, we got your dad, William Giron. What's going on, sir? Hope you have a good day. And our buddy, the king of Mongrovian karate, Mongrovian Mike in the chat. What's going on, guys? Thanks for joining us, man. We're glad you're here. Who's next on the docket on the Aaron Rodgers talk? Who takes it?
I got my hand up. Okay. No, I'm just joking.
Third grade?
Yeah. Ooh. No, I just hope the Packers don't restructure, and then Devontae Adams goes and plays with his college teammate in Las Vegas. And that's the only way they're gonna combat that stupid ass Russell Wilson. And I'm just glad that he staying, because there was talk of him going to the Aaron Rodgers going to the Broncos, and that would have made my hair grow back in. I mean, that would have pissed me off.
Shit!
I'm happy.
Wow.
I like Russell Wilson. I hate, like I said, I hate the Raiders are gonna have to face him twice a year, but he is pretty damn good. But if they had Devontae Adams, that'll lessen the blow.
Oh, come on, Randy. Let's be honest. You would hate it even more if Rodgers was the quarterback of the Donkeys.
Oh my god, I'd be breaking stuff. No.
Hey, did you say donkeys?
Damn it!
Nice.
But you know what, guys? Steven, I got to agree with you. He's got to take a pay cut, because if there was one thing exposed about that Packer team last year, it was the lack of talent at wide receiver number 2. And why? They can't afford nobody. They got Devontae Adams, nobody else. No tight end, no other receivers. They got Aaron Jones, who's good. They've got no wide receiver number 2. So you would think Aaron Rodgers would have enough common sense to say, you know what, save some of my money and go after Amari Cooper. Go after a good number 2 that I can throw to when everybody locks down Devontae Adams in the playoffs. But you know what? From the Packers, I hope Adam Schefter, I know it's not likely, but I hope they're wrong about the contract, because of the simple fact, I'm not saying I'm a front office expert. I'm just saying that you're making that much money. Eventually, it's going to bite you in the ass in several ways. You're pushing people's contracts back for 2 or 3 years. Once Rodgers gets to that 3rd year, you're going to have to cut half the team just to keep Rodgers. Then it'll be a 44-year-old Aaron Rodgers and nobody around him. You'd be done wasted a draft pick talent, and you went in the 1st round and got Jordan Love seemingly for nothing at this point. We drafted him. We're just going to use him as bait to make Aaron Rodgers want to shut the fuck up and play. So now, just like Charles Barkley said,
You're right, yeah.
Why in the hell would you go out, Aaron Rodgers? You knew you were coming back the whole time. Why did you put on this dramatic showcase for the last month? I don't know what I'm going to do. I haven't made up my mind. You knew you were going to play. You knew you were going to play. And Charles Barkley said it best. He said, he is the pretty girl from school that you have to keep calling pretty every day because she's just so fucking dramatic. That's Aaron Rodgers.
Not
I
wrong.
said it better myself.
That's it.
Holy fuck.
He's just like Brady. I mean, come on. I mean, Brady knew after all, I'm going to retire, but I'm going to make it so dramatic. Rodgers does the same thing, going, I don't know what my future holds for Green Bay, when he knew all along that he was coming back to the Packers.
Oh, yeah.
Horrible. Oh, and Randy, I thought you would like to know, since you were talking about Devontae Adams, they already just franchise tagged him earlier.
I just saw that. I about threw my tab.
Yeah, he's stuck for another year.
Send my condolences to Devontae Adams. That's just me, All right. As far as that goes, it's whatever. Aaron Rodgers, do whatever you want. Just stay the fuck out of Chicago. Anyways, moving forward, let's go to another big talk of the town, and that is the shock of the day, in my opinion. Russell Wilson is going to Denver. It was announced today that Russell Wilson had been traded from Seattle to Denver And according to Mr. Adam Schefter, this is what the trade involved. Of course, the trade involved Drew Lock. Of course, he'll be going to Seattle. But it also involved these specific picks. Seattle will get Denver's 2022 first round pick, which is number 9. Denver's own 2022 second round pick at number 40. Denver's 2023 first and second round picks, and then Denver's 22 fifth round pick will be exchanged for Seattle's 2022 fourth round pick. So that plus Drew Lock and what other considerations they'll throw in is how the deal was struck to get Russell to go to Denver, which is a huge deal. Denver has been looking for that quarterback, that strong quarterback with a great arm who can run. They have been missing that since Eli Manning had retired, and they haven't really had that much success. They tried with Trevor Siemian. They've tried with Drew Lock. It just hasn't seemed to really go anywhere. Do I think Russ is going to be the answer to all their problems? No. But do I think he's going to add the fuel that they need to make noise? I think so. But like we've always said, one player does not change a team completely. You have to have all the right components in place. We've talked about this with basketball. We talked about this with football. We talked about this with all sports.
Yep.
You have to have the right components in place on all sides of the ball. Special teams, offense, defense, your O-line's got to be great. Your D-line's got to be ready. You know, you got to have great receivers, great running backs. You got to have everything. So I don't know if Denver is quite there yet. I mean, they got some great players on their team, and Russ is going to be an excellent addition to him. Like I said, he's a mobile quarterback who's got a good arm. But you got to watch Russ, even though he's technically quote unquote young. The one thing you got to watch out for is age and fatigue. He's still pretty young in his NFL career, but it doesn't matter. If you take as many hits as Russ has, age doesn't mean shit. We see too many young quarterbacks retire at a young age or lose their career at a young age. We said that's the same fear we have with Justin Herbert.
Yep.
That's the same fear we have with him. And that's the same fear we have with Russ. Russ loves to run, but Russ also leaves himself open to big hits. And here's my question to finally wrap it all up and get it to you guys: is that how big of an impact is Russ to Denver now that he's going to be going there? And what other key components around Russ do you need in order to make this team a credible threat within the AFC? Anybody can lead it off.
You know what?
Go ahead.
You know what? I'm gonna say, it's a win-win for both teams. Seattle's going, like I said before, when the season ended, I said it's going to be the end of the Pete Russ connection. I said they're going to break this down one way or the other. One of them's going, and they're going to completely overhaul and rebuild. With anybody over the age of 28 is gone, which they have been known that they are shopping Tyler Lockett right now as well. They're looking for a trade partner for him, but. And Denver, you're looking at it like this. Did they give up too much? I don't think so, because all those draft picks are in a span of 2 years. So if Russ can put them in title contention just for 2 years, it'd been a success, I think. And do I think Russ can? Oh, definitely, because Denver's already last year had a top 10 defense that literally had smothered good offenses all year round. And they've got a good rookie running back along with Melvin Gordon who can run the ball. They got solid receivers. All they needed was a quarterback who can manage the game. And Russell Wilson, if there's one thing known for what he can do in his history of the game, that is manage the game. Hand the ball off, make the right throws, call the plays at line, be a coach on the field, keep your defense rested. I think Russ can do it. And I think Denver goes from a mediocre team to possible divisional round threat to the Cincinnati Bengals, Kansas City Chiefs, teams like that. I think they're a big threat in the AFC West. As a matter of fact, the whole AFC in my book.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be, I think with this team, I think with this team, they had the chance to be a credible threat, and not just, like I said, not just in the division. It's not in their specific division, but the entire conference. I could see them really, like you said, top 10 defense, really knows how to smother good offense. You just said all that, and it's, when you're starting to get the pieces together, and like you said, I think the key cog is Russ. And to me, when you have a good quarterback who can run the ball as well as have a good cannon on that arm of his, I think it's a win-win situation. And I do agree with you on the draft picks. I do agree, because the way the draft pick selections were staggered over the years, over this year and next year, it makes total sense, because you're not giving up so much in 1 year at once. You're staggering it so it evens out. So I think that makes absolute complete sense.
And you know what else I just thought of?
What's that?
The first round picks that they gave up. Imagine this. I'm not going to say it's going to happen, but it could be like the case of the Los Angeles Rams. You win a Super Bowl, you technically would have the 32nd pick. Do you think that really is a great first round pick anyway? Like, that first round is essentially a second round pick at that point. So you're not giving up much if you can be successful.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Sure. Yep. Anybody else?
I think you all know what I think.
This, buddy.
Let's see. The donkeys are still the donkeys to me. I think it's just going to be a little harder to beat them now. That's all. But that makes them scary. And I'll tell you this. I think we've all talked about it, but all four teams in the AFC West are going to be contenders in the AFC. They could have all four teams in the playoffs with the extra team now. So you just never know. There was almost 3 in there last year if San Diego doesn't call timeout. But there's almost 3. I mean, what's another one? Yeah.
I agree with you.
We'll see. It's still a lot of moves to be made too. A lot of free agents out there still, and we'll see. It's going to be a great season. It's shaping up to be one of the best ever. So.
Absolutely, I do.
I think this is a good move. It's a win-win for both teams. I mean, Seattle wants to rebuild. They had a great era, with Russell Wilson, at the helm. Went the 2 Super Bowls, should have won 2 of them, but they won 1. Hey, that's not bad. No matter where Wilson goes, he's going to be good because he's a good quarterback. He's been in the league, and it's hard to believe, for 10 years this upcoming year. 10 years. It's remarkable how good this guy is. And my question to you guys is, since Wilson has not gone to Denver, who does he bring with him? Who does he request? Hey, I want to throw the ball to this guy, that guy. I mean, because, Denver has some solid receivers, but knowing Wilson, he probably wants to have maybe a few of his targets that he likes to play with, especially in Seattle with Lockett or DK Metcalf and all those guys, and it's going to be
not
it happens.
I said, I think, like we were just saying, they are still looking to shop Lockett, but does Denver have anything left in the tank to trade for Lockett? That's the key. Seattle, they could have probably packaged in 2 more later draft picks and put Lockett in that, but I don't think Denver wanted to. That's why they didn't end up getting them. I'm looking for Denver to go after somebody off the market. Maybe if they could try, if they still got some money now. Russ ain't paid like damn Mahomes and them. Russ is only paid about 30 million, 31. He's not paid like a Aaron Rodgers crazy figure guy. So they still got some money to work with.
Kevin,
could they go after Cooper? Kevin, hey, who knows?
Kevin, good thing you said that, because I found this from Brady Henderson on Twitter. He posted cap ramifications. Russell was to count $37 million in 2022. Seahawks save $11 million in 2022 and take on a $26 billion in dead money. That's the second most dead money a team has ever incurred. Philly ate $33.8 million in the Carson Wentz trade.
Damn.
Wow.
But like you said, it's not a high. He's not a high market quarterback at this time. He's not commanding the money of guys like even a Matt Stafford. at this point now,
Sure.
a Super Bowl champion. You know,
Yeah.
guys like even Tom Brady, he's not garnering Brady money. He's not garnering Rodgers money. He's not garnering
Josh
Herbert
Allen.
money or Josh Allen money. He's not garnering any of that. He's a guy who had Super Bowl success, has been on a bit of a downcline, and is looking to build himself back up. And to me, he's not going to command a big giant payday. So to me, it was smart to get it, because whatever money they take over there is not going to be a huge hit against the salary cap. I don't know what they have in room at this time. I don't know how much room between the salary cap ceiling and what they have, but I think they'll still have plenty of room to make some necessary changes that they need to grab somebody off the market.
Right.
Oh, definitely. And like you said, Ezra, like the teams, I would just expect, looking to see how rookie salaries are, a lot of their starters are still on rookie deals. Bradley Chubb is still on a rookie deal. You got Patrick Surtain is still like on a rookie deal because he just got drafted last year, of course. And then you got to look at the rise of star running back Javonte Murray. He's taken over as being a Najee Harris type rookie running back. So at that point, you could trade Melvin Gordon if you want to take that pay or save your money. You could go out and get a receiver. You still got Cortland Sutton, the receiver for Denver. He's still making cheap money. And Noah Fant, which they just traded away, obviously, but still you save some more money that way as well. He was making pretty good.
Anybody else?
You know, and that's another thing too about, you know, Wilson going to Denver. I mean, you know, good for him, because honestly, I think he needed to change of scenery, because he knew if he stayed in Seattle, he wasn't probably going to have more success with the franchise, because their offensive line is very depleted. And I'm like, because remember this, Ezra, last year on the show, we were talking about when this show first started, okay, Russell Wilson's getting up there somewhat in age, but where does he go from here after this season? You know, and obviously now he's on Denver. You know, we were talking about last year about possible moves that where could Wilson land in the next season or two. And this is a good move for him. I really think so, because he still brings, you know, wisdom to this team, because Denver has some good players, especially that defense. That defense is really good. And Kevin just said it at the top of the show, they were a quarterback away from possibly getting into the playoffs last year. And now that you have your piece, Russell Wilson is going to make people possibly want to come play in Denver, because now having a top caliber quarterback, a top 10, top 15 quarterback on your team now you have a guy under center that can command attention and make other players better, because that's the kind of player Russell Wilson is. Wilson is the guy that he can make a rookie look good, because that's the kind of player that he is. He reminds me of a Rodgers, reminds me of a Mahomes, a Josh Allen, you know, a Tom Brady, Drew Brees, etc. Can go down the line of quarterbacks. That's how good he is.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. But yeah, this was a huge signing, a shock to everybody. Definitely put me on the spot. Like, what the hell happened here today? I mean, seriously, it's been a crazy day, and trust me, we got a lot more to cover. And there's been a lot of trades and a lot of releases over today. Let's get into a couple more real quick. We still got almost close to an hour and 15 minutes if we can make it that long. I'm not going to make a joke about that, but the Packers also not only re-signed Aaron, but also franchise tagged one of his favorite targets, veteran wide receiver Davante Adams. That's another big one there for Green Bay. Also there was some other. The Titans did not franchise tag, however, offensive linebacker Harold Landry.
Oh,
yep. So they didn't tag him. So as of right now, there's no deal. So we're gonna see if they're somehow able to come with a deal, or if he's gonna go somewhere else.
That's big.
Yeah, it is. That's big for Tennessee.
He is a very great pass rushing linebacker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's one of the better ones in that division. Trust me on that. That was what made Tennessee such a threat last season. Not only because of the running back attack, especially early with Derrick Henry, but also the the overall offensive and defensive line are just absolute beasts. And, so hopefully they're able to come to some sort of agreement eventually and bring him back, bring him to the fold, keep him there, but we'll see. Of course, it's all about money. So, here's the big news. Multiple teams have called the Panthers about a possible trade for Christian McCaffrey.
Wow.
There's only one problem with that, and that's the Panthers are smoking crack. Literally, they're asking for two. Listen, they're asking for 2 to 3 first-round picks on top of a player, a starting caliber player. What?
They nuts.
They're big time smoking crack.
What is Carolina thinking? Oh my God. I mean, if Run CMC can stay healthy, great. He'll make another team look good. But oh my God, the Carolina Panthers are smoking a hell of a lot of drugs right now, and that's bad. Okay.
Yeah, that's as Bully Ray on Busted Open once said, they picked the wrong day to stop sniffing glue. But real quick to jump on your point about the deal they won, says right here in this report, although the Panthers aren't looking to unload Christian McCaffrey, multiple league sources say that they could consider a deal if offered a first round pick and another player without a big salary cap number. What?
That's insane.
Out of your
Good luck.
mind, homies.
I'm telling you, the running backs are not the league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 years. Why could you even think you could demand that? Oh well.
It is the Panthers. What'd you expect?
True.
Yeah,
you know what though? Here's what it reminds me of. Carolina. I can't blame them for asking for that much because that's a win for Carolina if they can just seal that deal. You take that salary relief and you get an extra pick. And you know what's crazy is they're like that ugly guy that asked the pretty prom lady out to prom and hoping like hell they hit a home run, but 9 times out of 10 they're gonna strike the fuck out. None. We don't want him. We don't want that crap. Get him out of here. He's gonna be on IR before we
struck out.
You got the gong.
Tom
definitely did march on. Ooh.
Oh, how did I know a Metallica reference is going to be in that one?
Yeah. Carolina, what are you thinking? Just terrible. Terrible.
Perfect sound for that.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Hey, look, I'm waiting on any day now that Adam Schefter posts this just in. The NFL is releasing the Carolina Panthers as of a team in the NFL.
They'll have them join the USFL.
How about the Canadian Football League?
There you go.
How about the cricket team?
How about we bring Fulham FC? Oh, wait, wrong football.
Or wait, they should go to the XFL.
Yeah, can we bring in the Montreal Alouettes from the Canadian Football League?
Yeah, maybe they can trade. Maybe they can trade the.
We can bring back Mark Trestman to the fold.
Trade whoever wins the Grey Cup.
Oh, Jesus.
Whoever wins the Grey Cup can come in and trade for the Panthers.
I said the words Mark Trestman, and I felt the chill go right up my spine. Ugh. Bad memories. Moving forward, the Bills have announced they've released linebacker AJ Klein. Yeah, they released him today. Another one is the Broncos have announced they've released wide receiver Deshaun Hamilton. Yep, Hamilton because he suffered a torn ACL last season and was fully recovered. He was set to be traded to, believe it or not, the 49ers before his injury, and a 4th and 4th round pick is expected to draw interest. So
Mm.
But that's pretty much covers what I got in the NFL. Any of you guys got anything?
I think the NFL should change the rule. I think that the worst teams in the NFL should play, and the loser of that game has to go to the XFL, and the winner of the XFL championship gets upgraded to the NFL. That's how I think it should work.
And the loser has to go to the Arena Football League.
Go play with Johnny Manziel somewhere.
They have to face the revived LA Kiss.
Oh my God, LA Kiss.
Blasphemy.
God, get out of here, Carolina.
Yeah, people. Anyways.
What about the Philadelphia Soul, owned by John Bon Jovi? They could go there.
They can stay gone. Have a nice day.
Oh
My God. Anyways, let's talk about. We forgot to mention this. The Los Angeles Chargers have agreed to a 3-year, $60 million deal with wide receiver Mike Williams.
Wow.
He will also get $40 million. $40 million of that is guaranteed money.
Damn.
Good for the Chargers.
Yep, he made a salary base of $15.68 million last season after he picked up his 5th-year option. So, nice little payday for Mike Williams here. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah,
Good
stay
move
on
by
the
the Chargers.
What?
I can't believe the West keeps getting good. God bless.
That's how the West was won.
Well, I can't wait for the Raiders to start doing some cheating. Now
There's one more, Ezra.
Now they got McDaniels. They're going to do some cheating.
All right, Kevin, let it rip.
There's one more. You forgot that Chris Godwin didn't reach a deal today, so he's getting franchise tag, which puts him in a real serious financial bind.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yes, I forgot about Chris Godwin. Yeah, they weren't able to come to agreement on a franchise tag, so it's going to be interesting.
Yep.
Looks like Kyle Trask is going to be their starting quarterback for the year 2022.
You know, they wish they had Jameis Winston right back at the starting.
Actually, yeah, he did receive that franchise tag.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
He did.
He did, yep.
He received the franchise tag, yep. So, other news in the NFL, this is kind of unfortunate news. Deion Sanders, who's been dealing with some health issues, unfortunately, the past little bit, unfortunately had to have 2 toes amputated today.
I saw that. I can believe that.
I've seen it.
Yeah, he has blood clots stemming from a previous surgery that unfortunately caused 2 toes to be amputated.
Oh,
Wow.
All the best.
Damn.
All the best to one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, without a doubt.
prime time.
That's sad.
Absolutely, definitely. Let's get into some NBA. Let's get some NBA talk, shall we? We're about 17, 18 games away from the end of the regular season, and in the East, it is an absolute tight race, man. It's almost 3 to 4 games in between each team in that conference. Quick rundown of basically the top 10. Basically top 10, you got Miami in the lead right now. Philly at second, 3rd Milwaukee, 4th Chicago, 5 Boston, 6 Cleveland, 7 Toronto, 8 Charlotte, 9 Brooklyn, and 10 Atlanta, with Washington about, if I'm not mistaken, they are looking like a game and a half back out of 10th place.
Wow.
And then with the Western Conference, if this thing stops fucking with me, Western Conference, Phoenix, then Memphis, Golden State, Utah, Dallas, and Denver as your top 6. And then 7 through 10, Minnesota, LA, well, both LA teams. First the Clippers, then the Lakers, then the Pelicans. How in the hell the Lakers are still on 9th place? Did the Pelicans suck that bad?
Maybe.
Or maybe the NBA just wants the Lakers to be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They'll get their ass swept by the first round. I hope they make the play in there, get their ass swept.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Between 9th and 10th place is 1 game. And Portland's only 2 games behind.
I hope Portland makes a run. I hope they get Dame back and put LA out of their misery.
Right
put
now,
LA back in 11.
Right now the Lakers are 28-36. They're 28-36, and they are 5 games behind the Clippers. 23 games behind Phoenix.
Wow. You know what? No. You know what is so strange? How the fuck are you this far behind the Clippers, and the Clippers don't have Paul George or Kawhi Leonard into the playoffs? How? How the fuck? You had LeBron in and out all year. Westbrook, KD, all these jabronis. How?
You have Russell Westbrook. You have LeBron James. How the fuck are you not? Come on.
You have Carmelo Anthony playing the best ball he's played in quite some time. And the Lakers still suck.
Anthony Davis is so fragile. They're going to have to put him in a box wrapped in plastic like a vase.
Social distance.
Nope.
They'll have the social distance away from him.
He's starring in the new sequel for Bubble Boy.
Wait. How the fuck was last year's Wizards team with just Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook, who started out 2-28, better than this year's Lakers team? What? Please make it make sense to me.
Dude, I couldn't even make it make sense even with Steiner math.
No.
Oh my God.
Okay.
And then you got look. Then you got your typical Laker fans who, ooh, LeBron put up 56. He's old. He's putting up 56. They beat the Warriors. And the Warriors are like, oh, we don't give a fuck. We're in the playoffs. We're just trying to. We've seen this from the Warriors. How long ago, Steven? Since 2015. At the end of the year, they just don't give a fuck. They're just kind of cruising.
And then you know what happened? And then you know what happened? And then you know what happened? Here's what happened about that. Yeah, he scored 56. Now he's out with knee soreness.
Yeah.
And then they lost last night to the Spurs. So, yep, their 1-game winning streak came to an end. What a winning streak. They won 1 game in a row. Now it's in the end.
Your dad, William Giron, Randy, he said that the playoffs are going to be wide open, which I do agree.
Yes.
Joe Thornton put there without Zion, so I believe it. Talking about
yes, the Pelicans are out without him. Yep.
Pelicans, yeah, so I definitely okay. Brian Rosa said the Warriors and 76ers are going to be in the finals.
What?
Like that. James Harden. And that's
true.
another thing I meant to mention, Ezra. I like that because I'm loving the way Embiid and Harden are getting along, how they complement each other. I don't know. I thought it was going to be a bad fit. But James Harden is balling out with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. They've got a nice little big 3 in Philly.
Yeah.
Would you imagine?
like
they got rid of Ben Simmons.
They see like they're developing some chemistry, and it's really, really coming together well for that team. So
all they got to do was to get Harden was to trade away a Philly cheesesteak. And they got James Harden. What a win.
Yeah.
At least that Philly cheesesteak was made with more work ethic than Ben Simmons does on a normal workout day.
Yeah.
Fucking break.
Terrible.
He has the personality of a Philly cheesesteak.
Delicious. Here's another comment from Joe, from Joey Thornton, JT. Got Justin Timberlake. Tyronn Lue knows how to beat the Lakers 7-0 since he took the Clippers job.
Yeah, he is undefeated against the Lakers. And actually, the Clippers had a better record over the course of the last 4 years. So they're actually even wondering, is this even the Lakers city anymore, or is this Clipper city?
Oh, and they actually made it to the conference finals?
Western Conference Finals last year. Yep.
They made it to the conference finals. Where did the Lakers
they
go?
was a Kawhi Leonard torn ACL away from taking it 7 games with Phoenix too.
Yep.
As well.
And you know what? They could have made it to the finals. Just saying.
They could have.
Right now, yeah. The top. Right now, Golden State is only a game, only a half a game out of second place, but 8 games out of first. So
at this point,
surprise
they're
me.
just in cruise control. They're just trying to get Draymond healthy and get a rotation working, and they're just in cruise control.
yeah,
They're gearing up for the long haul, so to speak.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Let's talk a little bit about the Eastern Conference. Let's talk about those standings. Pretty, like I said, a pretty tight knit race. Right now, Miami, of course, is in the lead, but like I said, 76ers only 3 games back, 3.5, only a half game back is Milwaukee. Only a game back from them is Chicago. There's your top 4 right there, and then nipping on Chicago's heels is Boston.
I tell you, 2 good teams that are showing out right now. They're balling their ass off over the last 3 or 4 weeks right now. And that's Philly, like I said, with their new little big 3. And I like the way Boston's been playing. I like the way Tatum's been playing this last month. He's been balling his ass off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it seems like that.
Yep.
That Boston is finally is making some noise and really showcasing what they got. Like you said, Tatum has been killing it as of late. It is, like you said, you got that little big 3 with Philly. Chicago, unfortunately, has been on a downswing as of late. After the All-Star break, DeMar DeRozan had a few good performances, and then it just seems Chicago can't seem to get that chemistry back together again. I'm hoping, of course, being me from that area, hoping that Chicago gets it together and puts himself in a better position. But I mean, we're still in the top 4. We're still in the playoff. We're still in the playoff picture. I mean, that's all that matters to me. As long as we get into the playoffs, we don't fall back too far, I think we'll be okay. I mean, we're gonna have some good fights depending on where we land in the standings. But I think overall, I think this Eastern Conference is the most competitive Eastern Conference I've seen in years.
Oh, yeah.
Without a doubt.
Because you got to think, the Eastern Conference has been labeled a weak conference ever since LeBron went to Miami.
Right.
You got to think
Right.
all the way back then, the Western Conference was the main focus, and it was mainly because of LeBron, and then you had Kobe with the Lakers, and then you had, Steph and Clay starting to really showcase what they got in Golden State. So West was the focus, where the East was kind of almost a weak conference. But now it's kind of that script has flipped. I mean, the two best teams, hell, I just named them over the Western Conference,
Yep.
one in the Big Golden State again. But this time you're looking at when you're talking about those teams, and you're looking at it's the Eastern Conference has got the best records, some of the best records, and the closest race to the playoffs. And that just proves how good those teams are and how competitive that conference will be when it comes to playoff time.
Yes.
absolutely. I mean, look at the game that we just had this past Friday in the Eastern Conference between the Bulls and the Bucks. And that was a really good game. And Giannis scored 34 points in that win for the Bucks. And, like the NBA's Eastern Conference is finally, I think, getting the respect that it deserves, because you have a young Bulls team, a young Heat team. You have all of these teams in the East, Celtics making some noise. Bucks are the champs. They're the top dogs, but they're making some noise. Philadelphia with their new big three. Harden having a new lease on life in Philadelphia. Who would have thought that, because him and Embiid are playing so well together, and it's just crazy. The short time that Embiid and Harden have had together, they've had more chemistry than the Lakers in the Western Conference have with their big four, essentially, have all season. And just think about it, guys. If Harden was with Philadelphia throughout the entire season, how much of a dominating team would they have been all season long? They are in the top of the East already.
But you know what, Steven, if I got to pick a team out of the East right now, and I love what Philly's doing, I love Boston, Miami, Chicago, all them teams.
Sure.
I'm going with your reigning NBA champion, Milwaukee Bucks.
Absolutely.
Just for the simple fact, and I know this is a kind of a personal opinion, but a lot of people would agree with me. Giannis Antetokounmpo is the best player in the world, and I'm always going to take him over anybody when the competition, like Ezra said, is so close. I got to go with the best in the world. I'm going Giannis. I got to go with him in the Bucks. as far as the East.
And I find that
think they
interesting because
repeat
you're a
as Eastern
Golden State
Conference
fan.
champions. Yep, I got to
And
go with Giannis.
I find
I
that-
got to go. He's the best in the world.
You know
And-
what? That's a good
And hold
point.
on, Steven, 1 second. We had somebody who just joined us a few minutes ago with the Lakers, or with the when it comes to basketball. That is, of course, another great Golden State fan, and that is, of course, our buddy Trenda.
That's right. She is a Golden
Good
State
taste.
fan.
Good
Yeah.
taste.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, Giannis is on another level right now. I mean, he is playing excellent basketball. I mean, he is so laser sharp focused right now with Milwaukee. I mean, they are on a roll right now, and they can only go up from here now from now on, defending that championship crown. They are going to be in the Eastern Conference Finals once again. They're a tough team to stop, and I really think that Giannis can lead the Bucks possibly back to the finals again for a second straight year.
Oh, definitely.
And they could be the first team to repeat as champion since Miami did.
Out of the East, yep.
Yep, absolutely.
Definitely.
Let's get into some. Now that we talked about the kind of where the playoffs are kind of looking at right now, kind of the standings of the games. Let's talk about some news stories in the NBA, guys, and let's get into one of the biggest ones, and that is that Greg Popovich, of course, for the San Antonio Spurs, has tied Don Nelson for the most NBA career wins as the head coach.
Hell of a coach. Hell of a
Oh,
coach.
hell of a coach.
Yeah.
I love, man. I love Pop. He's always been one hell of a class guy, and I got to give it to him. He did more with a lot of more problems than Phil Jackson and Pat Riley did. I'm sorry, just because Phil Jackson and Pat Riley were in large market teams, while Pop got started off in a small market like San Antonio. Homegrown players didn't buy his players or buy his way to championships. That's basketball 101, the way he coached the game and the way his players played the game. He coached some hell of a Hall of Famers on his team, that's for sure.
I mean, look at the big three of San Antonio that are most known, which is Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, and Manu Ginobili.
Oh, man. I mean, just the NBA Finals appearances that Popovich had with the Spurs, 99, 2003, 2005, 2007, won all those championships, first four NBA Finals that they won. And then in 2013, when they should have won the NBA Finals, but a sharpshooter assassin and Ray Allen stopped that. And just Popovich, man, win or lose, he is a hell of a class act, hell of a coach in wins or defeats, and he goes out like a true champion does. He does not make any excuses. When the Heat won that game 6, he didn't make any excuses. He goes, look, that was on me. You know, I should have had Tim Duncan in that game. But after all of these years later, even though they haven't won a championship since 2014, Popovich has found ways to still get it done. And just a hell of a resume. He is such a good coach. There's no other words that can be said about this man. Incredible.
And the longevity, Stephen, the longevity speaks for itself. There was a picture I seen on social media about back in the early 2000s, Coach Pop was coaching Giron Jackson. Coach Pop the other day was shaking hands against the Grizzlies against his son, who's a star for the Grizzlies, Giron Jackson Jr. And I'm just telling you, that speaks on the longevity of his career and how good he has done. And also, you remember, like I remember it, what happened after that Ray Allen 3 in 2013? What happened a year after? They damn near beat the dog shit out of the Miami Heat.
Oh my God.
Miami Heat.
I mean, they were, and I knew San Antonio was going to get revenge. You knew that. I knew that.
Everybody knew that.
Because San Antonio was like, look, we should have won that championship in 2013. But, oh, shit.
Oh, Montgrovian Mike strikes again.
What?
Montgrovian Mike struck again. He put, nothing's better than the monkeys versus donkeys rivalry. Wildman Fisher is a great coach. Of course, Wildman Fisher, for those who don't know, is a former street performer who was discovered by Frank Zappa, who ended up doing his own songs, which involved basically no instruments except his hands and himself and his vocals. A song called Monkeys versus Donkeys, which our buddy Brian Rosa introduced
has bestowed upon us as it's been stuck in our damn heads for the last couple of months.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. You're not very nice, but you are very evil.
And speaking of being evil, Randy's connection's very evil right now.
Randy's connection's going out quicker than LeBron in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, at least LeBron actually stands. At least LeBron stands in the fourth quarter longer than Randy's connection has in the last few minutes.
No, Randy's connection has faded back like LeBron's hairline in 2K13. Holy crap, that's backwards.
Yeah. I wonder if that was so stupid.
But
okay. Back to Popovich. As of this point, Wednesday night will be the game where he's facing the Toronto Raptors, and if he wins that game, he breaks the record. 1,335 career victories at this point. If he wins that game on Wednesday, he'll have the record. He's got, of course, 5 NBA titles under his. What was it? David Robinson sat courtside Monday with near Greg Popovich, and Pop jokingly told him to check into the game during a timeout.
oh wow!
Oh, Pop, gotta love Pop.
That dry sense of humor, but man, it makes
yes, he loved it. And Steven, you know as well as I do that if it wasn't for one man from 2008 to 2011 named Kobe Bean Bryant, the Spurs would probably have 2 or 3 more finals appearances.
That's right. That is correct.
Golly.
I mean, my God. And another thing about Popovich that I absolutely love about that guy is the fact that he held every player from the superstars all the way down to the 15th man on the roster accountable. He did not care if you were Tim Duncan, Monty Ginobili, Tony Parker, David Robinson. He held every single man accountable for their actions and for their play. If he didn't like the way you play, he will call you out on your shit. And that's the way a great coach and a great leader is.
Speaking of being called out on your shit, real quick, Ben Simmons will not play on Thursday because
his vagina hurts. Oh. God, I'm done.
He's been ramping up his training for his season debut. Whoopee!
Whoop-de-doo.
He's got explosive diarrhea. He can't be at the game. No, but like we were saying, Ezra, like you were talking about all them years that the West was in control, and that goes back to it. Like, Steven, we were talking like Greg Popovich was part of that Western Conference dominance all those years. He's part of the reason with Tim Duncan and Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green and Ginobili and Parker and all them guys, and Kobe Bryant, Dirk Nowitzki, all them.
When OKC
Durant,
had their big
those guys. Those guys had a part of why they dominated the East so bad.
San Antonio could have went to 3 consecutive finals from 2012 to 2014, but a young OKC Thunder team knocked them out of the Western Conference Finals in 6 games.
Yep.
I mean, Popovich, man, no matter who he has on that team, he will coach them and prepare them. And I think that the Spurs as an organization, they are in good hands even when he retires, because he's gonna have these players on their toes, and tell them, look, when I lead this organization, I want you to take that wisdom that I've shared with you over these years, and to the new players, I want you to take this wisdom with you for the rest of your career, no matter how hard it gets. Be prepared for any situation that you're in. If you're down by 15, if you're down by 2, if you're down by 3 with a few minutes left in that fourth quarter, fight until the game is over. And that's the kind of coach Popovich is. He does not stop coaching until the buzzer goes off in that fourth quarter.
Unless your name is.
And if you mess up on defense, he's gonna cuss your ass out even with 2 seconds left in the fourth quarter.
Somebody hurry! Somebody hurry!
Gonna give you an earful.
Somebody hurry up and trade Ben Simmons to San Antonio before Popovich retires.
That probably is gonna push him into retirement more. Fuck this shit. I'm out.
No, I was hoping he would make Simmons cry like a little bitch.
Yeah.
Oh, he might. Oh, he would.
All right. Real quick, of course, congrats to Greg Popovich on tying the record. Hopefully he can break it. Well deserved. One of the greatest coaches of all time. William Giron actually posted on our chat and said, Coach K and Pop coaching the Olympic team. That's what it's all about.
Amen.
Yes.
That is the truth. That is two of the greatest to ever do it at their own level of basketball. The country and the USA team was always in good hands. That's for damn sure.
Absolutely. Speaking of basketball, before we get out of the NBA discussion, and I got a little bit of time, and we're going to talk a little bit. Maybe we're going to talk a little bit actually about March Madness, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. I know you guys have been paying attention to the games. I've been trying to. Unfortunately, work has been hell. But real quick, a couple quick news notes. Right here, it says right here that from the Oklahoma City Thunder that Luguentz Dort will be out for the season with a torn labrum. Yeah, so he's out for the rest of the season, and he's expected to return to full basketball activities prior to the start of the 2022-2023 season. All right, guys. Also, the Warriors have announced that Draymond Green will targets March 14th for his return to the floor.
Great, because them boys have been missing his ass. Steve Kerr said we desperately need our engine back.
Yeah, he posted the news on his podcast, the Draymond Green Show. He had been battling a lower back injury, so glad that he'll be back. But let's get into some NCAA March Madness. Anybody got any thoughts on the tournament so far? I know it's only in the very early stages, but any guys got any shockers, bracket busters, anything you guys see that interested you so far? Well, actually, let's actually cut that out. Let's talk about the big moment this past week. And that was Coach K's final game at home with Duke versus North Carolina. University of North Carolina. Let's talk about that. Unfortunately, came out with a loss.
I mean, it might be, you know what? It might be a good thing that Coach K lost. I mean, I hate to see it as I love Coach K, but history repeats itself, and history says that Coach K coming off a loss on senior night ends up either winning the ACC tournament championship or the NCAA national championship. So that might be a good thing for Coach K, who he leads everything in all times, wins, tournament wins, conference championships, et cetera, et cetera. The only thing that he is second in is national championships. If he can win one this year, he will be tied for the most all time with John Wood. That will be incredible. That's the bigger picture Coach K is looking at, I think.
Yeah, to me, Coach K, the godfather of coaching in college basketball. The dude is 42 years at the helm, has, like you said, he leads all the stats. To me, probably the greatest college coach of all time. Just a guy who has led to victory after victory after victory with his coaching style. He kind of reminds you of a little bit of Greg Popovich in the sense that he has that kind of no-nonsense attitude about him. But we knows when to have fun. Like even he said, I was disappointed tonight. I was disappointed by the loss, but I was happy that I got to be honored. He still cares about the game, even though he's being honored, at his own home stadium. So hopefully they'll do something in a bigger scheme than just a little ceremony. Maybe he'll get a bust somewhere in the stadium. Maybe they'll name a court. Maybe they'll name somewhere on a court after him. I don't know, but hopefully they do something big and proper for Coach K because he damn well deserves it.
Well, you know what? They already have, Ezra. Honestly, a while back, right where Cameron Indoor, the street it lives on campus, the name of it is Shasheskyville. That's the whole name of the road that Cameron Indoor's on. So they've did a lot of stuff for Coach K, as well as they should. But nothing speaks out more about Coach K except the respect that some of these players have for him, like they do for Greg Popovich. Like you look at NBA greats, like Kobe Bean Bryant himself said he said, hey, look, he's the greatest coach I've ever played with in the USA Olympics. He knows everything. And I find it very funny. Hear me out now. LeBron James didn't turn into the villain LeBron James that we all thought was dominating in 2012 or 2013 and stuff until he played under Coach K in the USA Olympics. Kobe Bryant didn't win another NBA championship on his own after Shaq left until he won the championship with Coach K in the USA Olympics in 2008. There is a reason behind that. Coach K has the respect of all those grown athletes. Kevin Durant said it himself. He's one of the best minds in basketball of all time. LeBron even said it. He said, if I was went to college, I'm going to Duke. I'm picking Duke over anybody. I'll go across country just to play for Coach K. That's the level of respect for the greatest of all time. And it's a sad day, whether you're a Carolina fan, I don't really give a shit. It's a sad day as a college basketball fan in general to lose a GOAT like that, like it is in the NBA when we lose Greg Popovich, the same level of emptiness.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, that game Saturday, it was insane because, I mean, it was all over the place. I mean, UNC was up, and then Duke came back and they were both trading haymakers. And then Duke was up and then UNC came back. And then in that second half, I mean, Duke, simple facts, Duke just couldn't make any shots in that second half. And UNC was making their threes and their wide open jump shots and their contested shots and playing better defense than Duke did. But at the end of the day, at least Coach K was honored at that stadium in his final home game. And knowing Coach K, he handled himself with class like we knew he would. Mm-hmm. Obviously he wanted to win, in his final home game. But what better team than to lose to than your arch rivals in UNC? And it's interesting what's going to happen in the tournament, in the conference tournaments and in the entire NCAA men's basketball tournament, because who knows? Maybe Coach K has one final run left in him to make it to possibly his 13th Final Four appearance.
Most all time.
Yep.
And you know what, Stephen, like we were just talking about Greg Popovich having the accountability. Coach K did the same thing. It was after the game. He was supposed to be celebrated. He was doing a memorial thing, and the first words that come out of his mouth is, "This is a disgrace. It was disappointing." He apologized to the fans. He said, "I'm sorry. It was a disappointing act by us. We played like crap pretty much. We need to be better." That's the level of accountability only a great coach would have for his team. You're getting honored, and instead of celebrating like he very well deserves, he's more of like he says, a coach first. He said, "My guys, we played like crap. We got to be better. This was disappointing." And like, that's accountability. I love it.
I agree with that 1000%, guys. All right, let's go ahead and move on to some March Madness talk. Why don't we? Let's go ahead and do it. Any of you guys got any thoughts on March Madness so far? I know it's just begun, but any games that intrigue you so far? Anything that you find shocking already?
I'll tell you one right now, and and I ain't been keeping up with the conference tournaments too much, but the Chattanooga and Furman game was absolutely jaw-dropping. Chattanooga was up by 3 or up by 2 or something. Furman hits a 3 or something with 4 seconds left, or vice versa, whatever, 4 seconds left. Chattanooga gets the inbounds from half court, heaves it up, and makes it to retake the lead and win the game, and Chattanooga wins. That was you could tell it was March Madness written all over it.
If that's not any indication of what's to come in this month for March Madness, then I don't know what the hell is, because, I mean, it is going to be insane. Brackets are going to be busted. It's going to be one hell of a ride for March. I mean, there are so many possibilities who could go to the Final Four, and I know that the tournament is not so far deep in, but I think that Baylor can make it. I think Arizona could go. I think Kansas could go. I think UNC or even Duke could make a run, because when you have great coaches like a Williams, like a Coach K for UNC and Duke respectively, great coaches can make those deep runs. And Gonzaga, they're a really good team. They've been really good the last couple of years. I mean, they were one game away winning last year from being undefeated and winning the championship as an undefeated team.
Yeah.
And it's mind-boggling how March Madness is one of, if not the greatest tournaments in sports history, because anything and everything can and has happened.
And that's because it's not like a best of 7 series. It's like an NFL playoff. Any given day, you can lose. Because all them teams at the end of the day are collegiate athletes, no matter if they're from Furman or if they're from Duke University or Kentucky or Kansas. It don't matter. They're all athletes that know how to play the game. And one mistake or a couple mistakes, you find yourself getting upset, like Loyola Chicago or wherever that team was that year that went all the way to the Final
Loyola.
Four.
Yeah, it was Loyola. It was Loyola Chicago. Yep.
Yeah, see, and they're collegiate athletes. You can't overlook nobody. But I think teams that have a great chance are teams like Wisconsin, who's upsetting a lot of people and doing good this year. Gonzaga, who's stompled everybody. Duke ended up beating the likes of Kentucky and Gonzaga before they slip up in the conference play. Of course, that's conference rivalry games, but Duke's beating Gonzaga and Kentucky. Kentucky's beating some good teams. The SEC's got 5 ranked teams in it. Auburn's good. All those teams have a great chance of going deep into the NCAA tournament.
Speaking of Gonzaga, they played actually in about 30 minutes against St. Mary's in the West Coast tournament. I was looking up some of the games for tonight. That's one of the big games. You got Chicago State, Utah Valley as well. Tomorrow, you want to talk about tomorrow? Dude, Syracuse, Florida State. Syracuse, Florida State. You've got Boston College versus Wake Forest. Stanford, Arizona State. Air Force, Utah State. Butler and Xavier. Oregon State and Oregon. Dude, Nebraska and Northwestern. There we go. Being from the Chicago area, Northwestern, DePaul, the Fighting Alumni, all those teams. Of course, I'm looking forward to seeing how well they get, how far deep they go. But it's one of the most unpredictable tournaments in all of sports, college sports, professional sports. It's one of the most unpredictable tournaments because there's so many teams, so many different ways this whole damn tournament could go. When you look at it, you think any tournament involving sports is easy. You look at it, like the NBA tournament. It's NBA tournament. It can be predictable at a certain point. Same thing with the NFL playoffs. But this one, because of the length, because of the number of teams, the length of the tournament, and how many games you have to play, it can be the most unpredictable, draining tournament in all sports.
I remember when Kentucky was undefeated in 2015, and they took on Wisconsin. And everybody was talking about up until that game how Kentucky had all the talent in the world to be undefeated and win the championship. And Wisconsin said, wait a minute, you're not giving us respect? And we made it this far. And they went in there and busted everybody's bracket. And that's the greatness about March Madness. I mean, Virginia, a number 1 seed a few years ago, loses to the bottom seed in the tournament.
Yep, I remember that.
Duke a few years ago lost to what was like a number 15 or a number 16.
No, I remember the one you're talking about, Stephen. You're talking about, I believe it was 2013, and I believe the team you're referring to was Lehigh, starring guard C.J. McCollum.
That
New Orleans Pelicans.
Right. That's right.
They upset Duke on the first round of the tournament. I remember that.
Yep.
And as to what you were talking about in 2015, Wisconsin broke everybody's bracket, then turned around and got steamrolled in the championship to Duke. I'm like, wow, this team beat an undefeated team, then turns around and gets rolled over in the championship game in the second half.
And that is the greatness of college basketball tournament play, because anything can happen and has happened. And I mean, there is no telling. I mean, Gonzaga is one of the best teams this year. 24-3. Baylor 26-5. I mean, the list I could go down the line with these records. I mean, it is so wide open this year. There's not that one definitive team like it was last year, because Gonzaga was that one team that goes, oh, that people went, oh, they are the team. This year we're back to square one, like we always have been, because now you have several teams: Arizona, Baylor, Gonzaga, Kentucky even, could make a run. I mean, it is just so wide open this year. Kansas, I mean, there are so many.
Put it like this, Stephen. Remember, here is an indication it's going to get wild. If you don't believe me, last weekend, I believe every single top 9 team except for Duke at number 8 lost that game last weekend.
That's right.
Every single one. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, all the way down to number 9, except Duke at number 7. Every one of them lost that weekend.
Definitely, it was a big week. Let's get into some quick scores real quick in the NBA going on right now. Speaking of basketball, since we might as well keep on that trend, the Nets and the Hornets right now are playing in the third. Nets right now winning 87-62 over the Hornets.
Would you look at that?
That okay.
They might finally see a win. They're 3-23 in their last 27 games. 26 games.
You know what I just realized?
They might see a win finally.
You know what I just realized? Coach Popovich has got to win one game to get to that record. Imagine if his team goes the next 17 games winless.
Pop's pulling his hair out. He's coming in the next year bald.
Yep.
He's coming in the training camp bald.
Pop's gonna look like Heat Miser from fucking Year Without a Santa Claus.
Oh God! No.
He's gonna be so red.
Oh boy!
He's gonna look like a tomato with arms and legs.
Of souls?
Oh yeah, I can see him now. The way he cussed at Danny Green, that's gonna be how he cusses at the whole damn team by the end of the year.
All right, the Pacers and the Cavs. Pacers leading the Cavs right now, 78-73 in the third. Suns leading the Magic, 69-57 in the third. Grizzlies leading the Pelicans, 57-47 in the second. And the Thunder losing to the Bucks, 31-27. Last game of the night, Clippers and Warriors at 10 p.m. Eastern on TNT. So there you go. We're getting close to the end of the show, so let's go ahead and finish it out with a few MMA news notes. Let's talk about that UFC fight this past weekend. Covington and Jorge Masvidal came down to a final round. Came down to a decision, which the decision went to Colby Covington.
Hey, can I just say real quick, I feel so sorry for the people that were watching that pay-per-view live, because there was an outage on ESPN because the app went down. I'm like, oof, that's terrible.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. But overall, I thought the pay-per-view itself, I watched most of it. I watched everything except for like the first fight, and I thought the show overall, it was a really good pay-per-view. I was pulling for Masvidal. I wish Covington would have gotten his ass whipped, but I digress. But Covington won, of course, talking shit at the end of the fight. Rafael Dos Anjos beat Renato Moicano by unanimous decision as well to retain, or to, because he's a former lightweight champion. He won that fight. But here's some of the fighter suspensions here right now that are, because these fighters said, of course, after fights have to have no contact for a certain amount of days and can't train for a certain number of days without a doctor clearance. Renato Moicano had 60-day suspension, 45 days no contact. Despite being as beat up as he was, Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal will get 45-day suspensions. But Jalen Turner, Jamie Malarkey, and Kennedy Njeku are suspended for 180 days sustained in their respective fights. So, and of course, those can be terminated sooner if cleared by a doctor.
Yep.
But and of course, the big news from this week involving MMA as well was Cain Velasquez was once again denied bail, and he has another hearing set for, I believe, early to mid-April. Will be his next hearing for the attempted murder charges that are against him. So
that is still a mind-boggling situation. I mean, with Velasquez, I mean, and there are so many layers to this. I mean, him shooting the man, if it is true that man he was harassing his family, okay, I understand that. You're not going to take that kind of stuff from anybody. No man or no woman should take shit from nobody with regards to their family. But there is a way to handle things without turning to violence.
Yeah, and unfortunately, he took things the wrong way, he didn't take it the wrong way. He just acted in the wrong way, costing him not only his fighting career, possibly could cost him the rest of his time, or not rest of the time, but could cost him a lengthy jail sentence if up to 20 years from what was originally reported. But that sucks. But anyways, the next couple events are a couple UFC fight nights. But the next big pay-per-view, it appears it will be UFC 273. It's going to be Alexander Volkanovski versus the Korean Zombie Chan Sung Jung for the featherweight title. And then Aljamain Sterling, who has been dominant, will take on Peter Yan, who's the interim champion right now. Also on that card, Gilbert Burns will face Kazimierz Chimaev, Mackenzie Dern, Tasha Torres, Kelvin Gastelum back in there versus Nasruddin Imavov, and Irene Aldana versus Aspen Ladd. Those are just some of the names on that card. Also, Mickey Gall will be on this card as well. Also, quick update, Darren Elkins will be on a fight on the 23rd as far as that goes. Darren is scheduled. His fight was scheduled to take on somebody, but I think they bumped the fight for his fight. They bumped the card. So, with that being said, I think we're going to wrap it up here. Let's go with final thoughts. Kevin Rorie, you are up.
I hope everybody enjoyed the show tonight. And man, between now and next show next Tuesday, there's going to be some crazy news beginning to flow into the NFL, even crazier than what we've seen today. Free agency starts, trades happen, and it's going to get wild.
We're just getting started, baby.
Yes, sir. Hope everybody stays tuned for it.
Oh, it should be really, really good. Steven, you know the drill.
Man, what another great show with you fine gentlemen. And, man, what a great this past weekend in wrestling as well. AEW Revolution put on one hell of a pay-per-view. For the most part, all the matches were phenomenal. Just a lot of great matches. Punk and MJF and Britt and Thunder Rosa and the Battle of the Atoms, Adam Cole, baby, and Hangman Adam Page for the AEW World Championship. And just a lot of great stuff in this past weekend in AEW. Moxley and Bryan Danielson having a great match. And the shocking appearance by one William Regal. I mean, it was a great pay-per-view once again by AEW. You know, these 4 months, basically for the most part, 4 months for the most part for each of these pay-per-views. That is perfect timing, you know, and with the exception of this year, you know, with Revolution happening this past Sunday and then at the end of May with Double or Nothing, you know, but just a great pay-per-view. And I know the guys in the Nation's Corner are going to be talking about that. Yep. And Ezra, you will be a part of this Saturday show on the Nation's Corner, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 Pacific out there on the West Coast, and talking about AEW from this past weekend on the pay-per-view and what's to come on Dynamite. And
Mission Pro.
Yep, Mission Pro and GCW. And there's a lot of great stuff coming up, you know, in this, you know, in the week of wrestling. And also too, Shout outs to Ashley, who got to go to the Corn Show with her son and her husband. Corn and Chevelle had a hell of a show in Kansas City. And this Friday, I will be going to my 4th show this year in Raleigh, the Progressive Metal Titans themselves, Dream Theater, baby. It's going to be an epic night of progressive metal madness. And just can't wait to hear the guys play the new songs off of the new record, A View from the Top of the World. And just a lot of great things, man, in wrestling and music and just a lot of great things happening, man. And you can follow the Nation's Corner on Twitter at Nation's Corner, everywhere else on Facebook, Instagram, all that good jazz, YouTube as well, The Nation's Corner. You can follow us on Twitter at Owen_Sports Show, Facebook.com/Nation Sports Show. And once again, people, hit that subscribe button there on YouTube to get us to 100 subscribers so we can have a custom URL. That way it makes it easier for us to get our content out to you so you can share it with your family, your friends that love sports, all that good jazz. With all that being said, Ezra, wrap this shit up, my friend.
Absolutely, man. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining us here, Kevin, Steven. Thank you to Randy. He was having some internet issues, unfortunately, due to some severe weather moving in the area. We know he'll be back next week. And of course, get well soon to Joe Thornton. Of course, he's currently feeling a little under the weather. I will definitely be on the Nation's Corner this Saturday to talk all things wrestling, including GCW. Some big announcements made, and GCW Center Stage will take place as well that night, right after our show is over, which features a newly announced match between Jordan Grace and Alley Catch, which is going to be one hell of a brawl.
That's going to be a banger.
And also with Second Gear Crew and Hate Club for GCW tag team titles, and what's promised to be going to be a violent, bloody brawl. But let's end this now. Let's get it over with. So, for my buddy Joe Thornton, for Kevin Rorie, and for Stephen Wyand, and for everybody out there, thank you guys for joining us. I am Ezra Vickery, and we will see you next week on another great edition of our Nation Sports Show. Take care, everybody, and we will see you all next week. Peace.